Hey everyone, it's Shams at Mascara and we are back with the promised ombre video using the Maskscara Solid Gel Polish collection. So this turned out to be quite a long video which I've tried to condense but keep as real as possible. So I'm going to be taking you through three applications of, or I should say three techniques of ombre using the solid gels. I'm going to be showing you the sponge technique, I'm going to be using the brush, the ombre brush, and then I'm just going to be doing a little bit of a glitter fade, glitter ombre with you as well. But the reason why I'm showing you all three techniques is to help you make a decision about which one you would prefer using. I must say that I have preferred using the sponge method for the solid gel collection. I guess it's all about the viscosity of the gel and allowing the easiness of the blend. But anyway, let's get into it. So I've started off by using the nude, almost cover pink shade in the neutral palette. And again, you can work this gel in two thin coats, or you can use the gel as one thicker coat, giving you a solid finish. But I've worked with sort of multiple layers here to get the thinnest possible finish. So I'm doing one solid layer of the pink, and each coat that I did, I cure for 60 seconds in my LED lamp, and that's my mascara lamp. So the big thing with these gels is always remember that you've got to use a lamp, and we suggest maybe 54 watts or higher, just so that you're going to get proper curing of this product. So once I'm happy and I've got my two coats and it's cured, I'm going to remove the tacky layer because I'm using the sponge method, and we all know with the sponge, the little nail guards send out the dust fairies to bother us in the process. So to help us with that, make sure you clean the surface so that you don't get any extra added dust. You want to make sure that your whole process is as dust free as possible. So I'm applying the white solid gel kind of halfway on the nail, and this you can do in a nice even coat as well. And then using the sponge, I'm using a soft tapping motion, and I'm tapping from side to side. So don't blot down too hard, just go softly. And the nice advantage that we have with the solid gel is that it doesn't suck up all the gel. It kind of happens with the gel polish because it's more fluid, so you tend to soak up some of the product. So we don't get much soak up using the solid gel. Instead, it just kind of like blots it out and almost feather airbrushes the look. So I'm going very, very softly, just around the edges, smoothing it out, and I'm covering the whole surface because you want to keep it even. So you'll see that like where I'm working right now, I've almost like made a little spot disappear. That's okay because we're going to go into our second coat. So we're going to put our second coat on, and remember that first coat was cured for 60 seconds, and I'm going to repeat the process. So once our second coat of gel's on, we go in with our little sponge and we use soft blotting motion. So tap, 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 tap from one side to the other side, and you'll see how it gently feathers out the look. So you've got to use your discretion here. So while you're working and you're patting out your color, you need to decide how you want that fade to be. Because I always work on the line a little bit more on the top where the join is, so that I get that almost faded look. And I just blot all the way through so that it keeps things even. So here's the great part of the solid gel. If you're working and it seems as though you have missed a spot, or you've got a spot that's looking a little bit uneven, as you can see, I have a little spot in that corner, which is going to bother me. So we can fix it. So you just add a little bit more of your gel to that area, and you just blot that in to blend in with the rest, and it's fixed up. That was a huge thing for me. And then once that's done, cure for 60 seconds, and we're going to use our top coat. Top coat is like a blur filter. You'll see that once I put the top coat over, it just blurs out the whole look, and it almost seems to blend it in even more. So now you have got your ombre done with the sponge, and it looks pretty great. I must say I was happy with that end result, and it didn't take too long. I think the big thing with an ombre is time. We don't have time to spend hours. So that turned out pretty great, and I was pretty happy with that result. And I'm not even a fan of the sponge ombre. I love brushes, so this was a huge happy moment for me. So let's move on to the same application color. I'm using that cover pink, or that nude pink, to create my base. And we are going to be doing the application using the brush method. And if you do get a little background noise, I apologize. So I'm doing my first coat. I'm going to cover that and get it all even, cure my first coat, and then I'm going to move in with the second application layer. And the second application layer is going to be a little bit different. So I'm just brushing down to get it all even. I think that's the important thing with the solid gels. You can brush it and get it all even. And I've cured that bottom layer, so now I'm starting with my second coat. And this coat I'm taking halfway, as you can see. So halfway, not going to cure it. So you just wanted that first layer to be the base layer of color, and now you go in with your second coat of color. So halfway with the pink, do not cure that pink. And then we're going to do our white at the bottom of that layer, and the same thing, halfway with the white, do not cure the white. Right, so here we go with our white gel, and I really like the white gel in this kit because it's such a solid white. It's awesome to work with. So I think from a nail art point of view, this is a great palette to actually work with because the pigment is so strong with the white and the black, like that. Okay, so got my white on, and not going to cure it, and I'm going to join, like those two lines are going to be as close together as possible, and I'm using my rose gold mascara ombre brush, and we're going to go with the brush technique. So we're going to go from the top, and we are going to start working our gel down like you would do it in the previous videos that I've done before, almost sweeping the product down. So we're doing that sweeping method again. So going with the pink and pulling that pink down into the white. So because this is a solid product, and you know, this is my favorite method of doing ombre, I realized that it's going to take a little bit more blood, sweat and tears to blend this color with a brush. So a little bit more patience, a little bit more work. It's going to cut into your time a little bit more. It does blend, but it takes a little bit more work. So there's a little bit more involved with doing the ombre solid gel method with a ombre brush. Still my preferred method for gel polishes, but yeah, today we're focusing on the solid gels. So I'm brushing down and I'm going to keep blending. And I'm just going to say, with this method, to blend is truly your friend. You just have to keep blending. And if you are a tech that does have moments of lack of patience, I suggest sticking to the first method, which was the sponge method, because that is probably just going to be the easiest method for you to work with. So I've had to speed things up a little bit and get it going so that you can see the blend and how much blending is involved in this process. But again, it's another method that you can use, and if you love working with your brush and you've got time to spare, you can use this brush method. Now, here's the thing. When doing the brush method, your blend finish results is always going to be awesome. It's just going to give you that smooth color gradient going from your preferred top coat of color into your bottom layer of color. So in looking at the end results of the two, yes, I'm going to say doing the brush method, you really get an awesome finish result. But it takes a lot of time. And then looking at the sponge method, that too gives me a great finish result. Not as crisp as the brush method, but it took way less time and it looks pretty good. So I think when we're in a salon situation and you want to do ombres that are fast and you're using solid gels, I'm going to suggest going with the sponge method. So again, top coat over, always remember top coat's got to finish your work. It's like it blurs it out and filters it for you. And those are my two finished results. And as you can see, that's the sponge method, and the other one is using the brush method. It's pretty good. It's pretty close. You really have to be, you know, if you're like me, I'm going to be staring at this and looking at all the fine details, but pretty good results for both. One takes a little bit longer than the other, and I think that is the only difference between the two methods. So now let's move on to doing a little glitter fade, and this is very easy. So I've used the nude pink as the base color once again, and that's just cured and tacky layers being removed, and I'm gonna apply my glitter right around the cuticle area. So I'm gonna smooth out my glitter so that I've got it nice and even on that end, and I'm gonna fade this glitter out. And I'm doing this because I've had a few people ask me about how to get the best out of a glitter fade, because they tend to have it looking like a line when they finish. So here we are, gel's in place. I'm going to use my brush, my ombre brush, my gold ombre brush. And I'm going to go in for the fade. So lightly just brushing down those glitters and working the amount that I've put at that cuticle area, and gently just pulling it down over the nail. You don't want to go all the way to the end. You kind of just want to drag it down so that you've got that density of the glitter sitting closest to the cuticle, and almost like little drops of glitter raining down on the rest of the nail as you pull it down using the ombre brush. This glitters are pretty awesome to work with. I really am impressed with the finished result of them. They are pretty dense, so if you do 2 coats, you're going to get a very solid finish. But for this type of work where you want to do the fading, it really does give a pretty result as well. So once we've got that glitter faded down and into place, we are going to cure and once again apply your top coat just to finish your nail. That's going to be your finish. It's going to blur out any imperfections, and it's just going to seal and level out and make your work all shiny and neat. So you could use your shiny finish top coats, which will be your non-wipe top coats. You could also use a matte finish top coat. It just depends on how you want that finished result to be. And that's a pretty easy, very pretty glitter fade done really quickly. No need to go in for a second coat. So